Welcome to this episode. Today, we're diving into a compelling open letter dated June 19, 2026, from David Charles Osborne, a retired U.S. Army Sergeant First Class with extensive combat experience and a background in law enforcement. He's now co-founder of a ministry supporting military families. Osborne writes directly to President Donald Trump with some very pointed strategic recommendations about U.S. policy toward Iran and the IRGC.
Yeah, it's a fascinating letter because it's not just about military tactics or diplomacy in the usual sense. Osborne brings a nuanced perspective, grounded in his first-hand experience with asymmetric warfare and proxy conflicts. What really stands out is his emphasis on the critical distinction between the Iranian people and the IRGC regime itself.
Right, and that distinction is more than just semantics. Osborne argues it has real operational and moral consequences. The IRGC, or Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, has effectively hijacked Iran's state apparatus since 1979, running proxy wars, terrorism, and regional destabilization. Meanwhile, the Iranian people are actually victims of this regime and are actively rising up against it.
Exactly. And the letter highlights how the Iranian protesters wave the historic Lion and Sun flag, which predates the Islamic Republic, while burning IRGC flags. That symbolism is powerful because it visually separates the people's heritage from the regime's oppressive identity.
That's a great point. And Osborne's first recommendation is to institutionalize this linguistic precision in all official U.S. statements and media. Instead of saying Iran attacks Israel or funds proxies, the language should specify IRGC regime, IRGC terrorists, or IRGC leadership under Vahidi. This isn't just political correctness, it's a strategic tool.
It helps avoid alienating the Iranian populace, who are already resisting the regime. If U.S. rhetoric lumps the entire nation together with the IRGC, it risks undermining the courage of those people and inadvertently strengthens the regime's narrative. So precise language supports intelligence, diplomatic efforts, and psychological operations by isolating the regime from its people.
And operationally, it clarifies who the real adversary is. Treating the entire nation as hostile could lead to misdirected policies. This linguistic clarity helps focus efforts on the regime's military and terrorist apparatus rather than the Iranian people themselves.
Moving on to Osborne's second recommendation, he proposes designating Ahmad Vahidi, the current IRGC commander-in-chief, as the #1 ace of spades in a revived World's Most Wanted deck or public poster series. That's a striking idea.
Yeah, the Ace of Spades has a long history in military symbolism as the highest priority target. Vahidi is a founding commander of the Quds Force and linked to international terrorism, including the 1994 AMIA bombing in Buenos Aires that killed 85 people.
So publicly marking him as the top target serves multiple purposes. It signals that the U.S. will hold IRGC leadership personally accountable for terrorism. It also creates psychological pressure within the IRGC ranks, sowing fear and uncertainty.
And it supports information operations by broadcasting a clear message to both the regime and the Iranian people. It's a way to delegitimize the IRGC leadership and reinforce that they are not untouchable.
The third recommendation is particularly clever. Osborne urges the U.S. to publicly and diplomatically demand credible proof of life for Vahidi. Since his appointment, there's been no independently verifiable evidence that he's alive, especially given the regime's opacity and recent reported strikes.
That's a smart non-kinetic pressure point. Forcing the regime to produce Vahidi or expose a leadership vacuum could sow doubt and demoralization within the IRGC. It also bolsters the morale of the Iranian people by reinforcing the idea that the regime is vulnerable.
It's a classic intelligence and psychological warfare tactic, using uncertainty as a weapon against authoritarian regimes. And it's cost-effective compared to kinetic military action.
Taken together, these recommendations align with an America First policy that supports Israel and oppressed people seeking freedom without resorting to war. Osborne stresses that the U.S. should never again treat the IRGC as a legitimate negotiating partner, given their history of duplicity.
Instead, the focus should be on precision, linguistic, operational, and psychological, to isolate and weaken the regime while empowering the Iranian people. This reflects a sophisticated understanding of hybrid warfare, where information and perception are as critical as physical force.
Absolutely. And the lion and sun flag versus IRGC flag symbolism really encapsulates the internal Iranian struggle. It's a vivid reminder that the people and the regime are fundamentally opposed.
So, to sum up, Osborne's letter is a call for clarity, accountability, and strategic pressure that respects the complexity of the Iran conflict. It reminds us that language shapes reality in geopolitics, and that distinguishing between a regime and its people is essential for effective policy.
And targeting leadership figures like Vahidi publicly, along with demanding proof of life, combines intelligence, psychological operations, and diplomacy to destabilize the IRGC without escalating to full-scale war.
Ultimately, it's about supporting the brave Iranian people rising against oppression while maintaining strong U.S. and Israeli security interests.
Well said. This letter offers a nuanced, cost-effective approach that deserves serious consideration.
Definitely. It's a reminder that in complex conflicts, precision in language and strategy can be as powerful as any weapon.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll be back with more thoughtful analysis soon.
Take care.